Hi friends, I'm Nikhil. I have been working here in Germany for the past year and a half. I recently got laid off. Today, I want to share the stressful journey of losing my job within the first year of moving here in Germany and how I'm managing to deal with that stress. I spent my childhood in my village, so my dreams were not always very big from my childhood. Slowly, I learned to dream big along the journey of my career. As a part, I decided to work in startup. I remember the day when I left the Bangalore and friends, full of hopes, excitement, and ready to take on the world. Actually, I left a stable job in a multinational company and chose to work in startup in Germany. Yeah, it was a risk, but I felt alive, ready to learn, grow, and build something meaningful. Finally, I landed to the Germany. Germany felt like dream come true. It was so magical, stunning landscapes everywhere. Everything was so organized, and public transport, it was so reliable. I felt like clicked into good place. And then there was the work. Moving from MNC to startup, it's a whole different world. At startup, you're not just a cog in a wheel, but you're part of the bigger picture. There is more responsibilities and you have more influence on how things are done. I could see the product taking shape right in front of my eyes and I was so happy. Every decision I made, it mattered. It was thrilling but intense. I loved it. I felt I was a part of something bigger, building something from the ground up. But it wasn't just a work. It was the freedom to experience new people, new places and new culture. My life felt full. The work was challenging, but there were no forceful extra hours. And the holidays? Wow, there were so many. I made sure to use each one to explore new places in Europe, like Italy, Spain, Austria, name it. Life felt effortless and filled with the adventure. I wasn't just working, I was exploring too. Weekends were packed with new adventures. One month, I was in Austria, wandering through the street of Vienna, and in another, and next, admiring the beauty of Budapest. Along the way, I made new friends and embraced new culture. And sometimes I traveled solo, soaking into solitude and freedom come along with it. There was so much to say. Salzburg, Venice, Brussels, Stockholm, Helsinki, Rome, Vatican City. The list just kept growing, and I was lucky enough to combine business and travel. Whether I was navigating the vibrant street of China or just taking in the beauty of Europe on the weekend. It felt like living a dream. But despite the growth and all positive experiences, there was always that looming threat, the layoff. It wasn't new. It had been happening at my company for a while, but I was always reassured that I was safe. They would say, "You've been doing great work, Nikhil. You are not at a risk." And so I kept pushing forward, giving my best and feeling secure in my role. But then, one day, chaos hit the office. Almost 30% of the staff laid off. I was safe, though my work was directly tied to the product they were focusing on. I felt sense of pride in my contribution, but I was also sad for the colleague who lost their job. But still, I couldn't shake that uneasy feeling that something might be coming on my way, despite telling I was safe. The company was fighting to survive. We knew that delivering the top performance is key to attract the customer and securing the funding that we desperately needed. I always believed that I would stick with the company through the toughest time of it, giving everything I had to help us to make it through it. I traveled to our China office, diving into work, pushing boundaries with a small but determined team. We didn't count the hours. We just focused on getting the product to perform at its best. My colleagues were thrilled with the progress. We were so hopeful that we would land the customer we needed. Then one day, while we were discussing the progress we had made, how close we were achieving the goals, I received a call from my manager, and I was so excited to share about the performance we have achieved till now. And I said, "We have good news. We achieved the good performance and we would land the customer." But he cut off my sentence and he told, "Nikhil, I have bad news for you. I couldn't hold off till you come to the Germany from China. The bad news is you might need to search for the new job." And just like that, everything changed. And it was not the ending. It was the beginning of the stressful journey coming on my way. After that call, it wasn't good. It wasn't official confirmation, but it was clear what was coming. The confirmation came within a week of returning to Germany. I had 1 month of notice period and some small severance package. I had been in contact with the colleagues who were laid off earlier, and I knew hiring process is very slow. Some had found job in 3 months, others took 6, and some were still finding a job even after 1 year. Now I only had 30 days. That's when the clock started ticking. The countdown began for those 4 weeks. I never thought I would be laid off in my life. I couldn't sleep for first 2 nights because of stress and anxiety. The industry I was working in, automotive, was facing a downturn. Layoffs were happening everywhere and job opportunities were slim. I pulled myself together and hit the job portal so hard. I was on a spree of applying for jobs, whether they match or not. The competition was fierce. Every job I applied felt like throwing a stone into an ocean and waiting for the ripple that never came. The first week flew by. With each day that passed, pressure was increasing. The panic was creeping in. What if I didn't find a job in time? That's when I turned to the social security system. I realized I had been paying into the system for a year and a half. I was eligible for unemployment benefits. Now I had to juggle applying for a job, preparing for interviews, notifying to immigration office, and applying for unemployment benefits. If approved, unemployment benefits would fund me 60% of my salary. It was a great relief, but it also came with consequences. It could affect my work permit residency. I wasn't worried about that right now, but I had to take care of my visa, which would be valid only for 3 more months. I sent out close to 200 to 50 job applications, and out of all those, I got 4 to 5 interviews. The automotive industry was in crisis. I felt like I was casting a net with holes in it. By third week of my notice period, I still didn't have a job offer in my hand. The anxiety was rising. Then while returning company asset, something unexpected happened. My former colleague visiting the office at the same time. We struck upon a conversation and she mentioned a vacancy at her new office. She offered to refer me. I went through 2 rounds of interviews at her company. I had a good feeling about it, but time was running out. My notice period was almost up. 2 days before the end, I finally got the job offer, but there was a catch. The offer was from another startup. It was a tough decision. I had just gone through the uncertainty and stress of working at startup, and yet I found myself facing the same dilemma. Should I take the safe route and jump into the startup world again? It was an easy decision, but after thinking it through, I chose the startup again. The risk was high, but potential reward also very high. After going through so much, I realized sometimes biggest risk lead to unexpected opportunities. I was analyzing why I lost my job at first place. I found myself grappling with the reality of losing my job despite having given my all. Whose fault was it? Was it fault of mine choosing to work in startup, or it was fault of company's management? I realized it was neither. The startup was fighting to survive and they had to take some tougher decision. I knew they had let go talented individuals with much higher potential than mine. Working in this startup environment provided me immense knowledge and experience, which I wouldn't have got into MNC startup. Life had thrown me a curveball, but I hit it back. The journey wasn't easy, but I learned in the darkest time, there are always a way forward. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know for this show, I'm ready for whatever comes next.